Hi, we're back today with a process to simplify fractions. It's from a lesson by Mercedes Hutchins. So to simplify fractions, we simplify or reduce by writing the fraction to the simplest or smallest numbers in the numerator and denominator. A little bit of vocabulary first. Numerator is the number on the top of the fraction. Denominator, and a good way to think of it, is down below. It's down on the bottom of the fraction. So we have the numerator over the denominator. That's how I'll refer to these throughout the lesson. Factors are numbers that are multiplied together to make a product. Common factors is a factor that both products have in common. Prime factors are prime factors that make a number. So using only prime numbers to multiply to get a number. And the prime numbers that we use are 2, 3, 5, and 7. Those factor everything under 100. And if 2, 3, 5, and 7 don't go into it, then the number is prime if it's under 100. The prime factors in this are 2, 2, and 5. Equivalent, those are simplified fractions are equivalent fractions. Those are two fractions that are equal. They take up the same amount of space. They just might be cut into different sized pieces. So think of it like a chocolate bar. If you buy it in the store and it's whole versus you buy it in the store and it's broken up into pieces, it's the same amount of chocolate. So factors are numbers that are multiplied together to make a product. Common factors, a factor both products have in common. Greatest common factor would be the biggest number that both factors have in common. Both products have in common. Biggest factor both products have in common. Prime factors, a factor that's a prime number, and equivalent fractions that are equal. So how do I simplify fractions? There's a couple of strategies we use. The main ones are prime factors and greatest common factors. So using prime factors. This is the one that most teachers will use. It's a little bit simpler process, and it almost always, if you do it right, it will always give you the right answer. So simplify the fractions using prime factorization. 1, find the prime factorization. 2, cross off numbers in common. 3, multiply what's left. And 4, write the simplified fraction. So finding the prime factorization. We use factor trees for this. So first we're trying to find all the prime numbers. So 24, 2 is our most common prime factor when we have even numbers. So 2 times 12, and then 12, they did 3 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, and 40, we did 2 times 20 using that factor tree. We factored out 20 to 5 and 4, and then 4 to 2 and 2. So looking at it as a fraction, 2 times 2 times 3 is 24. 2 times 2 times 5 is 40. So by crossing off the same number in the numerator and denominator, you are dividing. So if I said 2 divided by 2, that would be a 1. So both of those become 1s. That's an equivalent form of 1. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do it throughout the whole problem. We did that to all the common factors in the numerator and the denominator and turn them all into 1s. We multiply what's left, and we get 1 times 1 times 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 1 times 1 is 5, times 5 is 5. We write the simplified fraction, 3 over 5. So again, to simplify fractions using prime factorization, find the prime factors, cross off the numbers in common, multiply what's left, and write the simplified fraction. So again, taking a look at that list. All right, so let's do it here. First, we're going to find the prime factorization of 20 and 36, replacing those question marks with the correct numbers. So let's go ahead and reveal. There we go. We get 2 times 10, and 10 is 2 times 5. 36 is 3 times 12. 12 is 3 times 4. 4 is 2 times 2. So, taking a look, we get 2 times 2 times 5 over 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. We're going to cross off what's in common. So we have 2 in the numerator and denominator. Again, we have 2 in the numerator and denominator. Those become 1s. We're going to multiply what's left, and we get 5/9. So the simplified fraction, when we write it, is 5/9. Using greatest common factor. So this is another technique. This is a little bit longer because you have to list all the factors, find the common factors, circle the greatest common factor, divide by the numerator and denominator, both of them by the greatest common factor, then write the simplified fraction. So first we list them all, and we find the common ones. We circle the greatest common one. We divide the numerator and denominator both by the greatest common factor. Okay. So again, we list the factors, find the common factors, circle the greatest common factor, divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor, then write the simplified fraction. One more time. Okay, so list the factors of 18 and 24. 18 is 1, 2, 3, 6, and 18. 24 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. We find the common factors. It's 1, 2, 3, and 6. We circle the greatest common factor, which is 6. We divide both the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor. 18 divided by 6, 24 divided by 6, and we get 3/4. So which strategy do you prefer when simplifying fractions? Me personally, I prefer the prime factorization. I'd rather just use 2, 3, 5, and 7, and then anything that they don't go into is prime. So here's practice. Our first one is 8/16. So I'm going to go ahead and show you on a board here. Okay. So we have 8 over 16. So I'm going to use prime factors. So when I think about 8, I have 8 is 2 times 4. 2 is prime. 4 is 2 times 2. Those are all prime. So 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. And 16 is 2 times 8. Well, we can kind of skip a little step here because we know that 8 is already 2 times 2 times 2. Then we're going to cross off the common factors in the numerator and denominator. 2 and 2, both of those become 1. 2 over 2, both of those become 1. And 2 over 2, both of those become 1. I'm going to erase a little bit here. All right, fix that 16. There we go. So when I rewrite it, I get now 1 times 1 times 1 over 1 times 1 is 1 times 2. So when I multiply my factors together, I get 1 over 2, which is the simplified fraction. Okay, let's go back to that PowerPoint. So 8/16. Oops. Sorry. It's going to be 1 over 2. Okay, let's look at the next one. 6/9. We'll erase our board. Black. Okay. There we go. 6 over 9. 6 is 2 times 3. Both of those are prime. 9 is 3 times 3. There we go. So when we write out 6/9, we write 2 times 3 over 3 times 3. We cross out our common factors. We multiply what's left, so we get 2 times 1 over 3 times 1. And that's going to give us our simplified fraction of 2/3. So 6/9 is going to equal 2/3. Okay. All right. So 6/9 again is going to equal 2/3. That is the end of our lesson for now. So make sure you have your notes written down. You can go back and review any part of this video that you need.